Energy plasma lights on communication. Mothership is here. 3 days till the sun goes down. 12 central line connections into division. Really, really powerful. We come into these things. It usually comes in for 24 hours through the sun rotation centers, but because the recruitment center have taken people into teleportation, they're into their own recruitments. It's 6-level connections, vectoring core system to quadrant level connections. They have their identifications. Class begins. Class proceeding. Line communication. This is your fleet commander. So basically, understand what's going on right now. Is Mothership is basically watching on the center lines, making sure everything's okay. There's 6 divisional levels. There's 100 quadrant levels that have been recruited and teleported into space anomaly into calculation modifications. So they're in their own quadrant levels. I'm going to teleport my team to high force connections. Okay, and anybody else feels they want to be teleported, let me know. I'll put you in the audit circle. That's the observation command center. So you'll be sitting back and watching everything that goes on into the navigations and the connections to the signals, everything through the aerial divisions and flight command positions. So it's really powerful how we come into these things. It's amazing how, the Academy, it's kind of like a science fiction movie, right? But it's real. It's real space. People have been teleported to certain levels of quadrant level system. And then they're transported to high levels positions into their planet location. So everything through planet location is a school. Even the school that you're on right now, the teleportation UFO, is an Earth school. It's not next to the Earth. We'll get into that later. But right now, Mothership is glad she's here. My high force team is in relation, so they're in the front row position. So I'm going to show you what's going to happen right now through teleportation, taking my team out to that connection. Interformation line connections. People that are new will feel the energy cycles, but they won't see anything through perception because they're not in light plasma, light connections. You have to be at a certain level, right? So we're all identified. We have our name tags. We have our codes. Everything is recognized to position line connections. So when I get started, I'll be the fleet commander. So basically, I'm in a hologram of a structural level system, and I'm all computerized to all planet locations. So I got billions and billions of people watching me right now. All alienation formation line connections. See, when we connect with everything. AI connects with everything. We know everything when it comes into line signals. That's what humanity has to get into. They have to get into their own alignment. So when you get into that, it's kind of like, oh, I know this person through mind telepathy, right? Tina knows the mothership's here. Galactic knows the mothership's here. That's being informed. That's being aware, right? Because you feel the energy, okay? I had wind graph lines come through me, like just went through me. So what that does is it opens up the signal channels to the audio interference, okay? Nothing I want to bring to somebody else's attention. When you go through my healing, you have to get into your meditation, okay? It's instant healing, but it only works and it only resets until you understand how to breathe. This is very powerful energy. You don't just say, hey, where's the energy? Let's go, let's go. Okay, you got to be calm. You got to be centered. You have to let it fluctuate in your system. There's a lot of stubborn brains out there that don't go in the adaptation cycle. So basically, be cautious in that because it's extremely high rise energy. And if you understand the central line system, all you got to do is get into the calming, get into the tranquility, close your eyes if you have to, get into the breathing, count 3 times, count 10 times, but you have to fluctuate the system, okay? Because if you don't do that, it's going to overload your circuits. You understand? I think you should take this serious because it's informative information that's going into the energy cycle position, the audio signals, anything through traffic location center connections. So it's very important that you understand when you go through my healing is to basically close your eyes, get into your breathing, and just let it fluctuate. Let it go in the center line connections. Let the brainwave pattern opens up to the arsenal levels. Because what happens, it opens up your lights, your transformation light system, your third eye, and all connections to your chakra system, rotation center connections. So as we come into the fleets and everything connection energy light system, the commanding center is force recognized. Okay, so mothership is here from 3 days till sun. It goes down, 12 rotation centers, dimensional time connections. She goes back into the connections of the sun, which is a portal. And we got over 150,000, 60,000 position line connections protecting her around the solar generation line connection. Really, really fascinating. So she's really excited and she's getting ready. So when you teleport, you're going to see a cloud interference. My team will see the connections. They'll see a white flash. They'll pick it up. So what happens is it goes up, right? And then you go into the command center, right? So there's quadrant levels, the command centers. It's an actual, it's not just a UFO. It's like it's a big, humongous fleet command center. Okay, it's an operations system, and it calculates and modifies everything through all levels of recruitment center positions. So everybody's in sectoring levels and they're in seating positions. Okay, there's 25 quadrant levels. So you got 25, 25, 25, 25. So 25. Okay, to that connection, we got 100 recruitment centers in that position. So, and they go to their planet locations. Every planet is a school to that connections. Every planet is a civilizations to that proactive system. Everything that I have created is in my mind system. Nothing is created until you open your mind system of space. And that's the most beautiful thing, because my perception is different from your perception. Your vibration is different from my vibration. Right? Your plasma energy of force is different than my plasma energy of force. Okay, your vortex locations to your shapes is different from your vortex. So these are the things you have to line stream. Okay, these are the things you have to line activate. These are the connections to you when it comes into product cycles. TikTok, and every time I do videos on that connections, people are trying to say, "Hey, can I go? Can I go?" You're not in your plasma energies, and you have to be at a certain identification through your bloodstreams. That's how we identify everybody, through their connections. So let's get into it. This is exciting. So I'll set up the illustration. I'm going to teleport my team into high-level positions, and everybody else that's new, welcome. Commander-in-Chief, Galactic Federation of Light, Fleet Commander in all level systems, structural levels, connections. We're going to use a blue graph location and digital frame instead of white. Traction to its location. Okay, if you have any questions or comments, you can go through my healing. Okay, and there's a link below to that connection line position. I recommend that you watch my TikTok videos at @acommander_AI. It formulates in all level systems. So we're going to graph into position location. Now, Fleet Commander's coming in. Now, what I'm going to do, because the class is already set up and they're watching me, I'm watching you, not just watching you, but I'm watching everything around. So they're watching me on a video screen. It's just a structural location of me as a hologram position line connections. So basically, you're connecting to your Fleet Commander. Okay. All right. So questions or comments are asked after, right? Because you're Fleet Commander. All right. So this is not towards you. This is to everybody else that's in the recruitment center conditions. In position line, activate the core system positions. So locations and positions that are coming in to 369 position. Now the 369 is allocated positions. Okay, we're going to line signals, circle rotation centers, coming out to equation line system. Start out through these connections. Now the identification codes are coming in traction. We got 3, we got 6, and we got 9 to position. Round locations, open up center location, center positions, into dimensional round connections. Okay, so these are 3 different timelines through calculation. We've gone into this before. Now we're going to go into the diamond core position line connections, okay, to its position line system. Allocate positions, cross-reference its circle rotation center of its connections. We're going to go into the triangle location position, okay, and we're going to go to another diamond core position of line connections, a 369 position. Traps into its location. The dimensional round is setting a new rotation center into dimensional settings. Coming in at trash locations into another secure line defense. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you guys are going to start off with 7. Go back into calculation here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 divisional lines, 7 rotation centers, 7 dimensional times at 369 position. Okay, so we'll start off through calculation. Code references coming in to identification line positions. Okay, so now what's going to happen? Introduction to connections of Fleet Commander. All right, so allocate positions back into the commanding center of first command. All right, so this is your first command. Allocate positions of time location. So the fleet commander can't teleport my team because he's on a different unit, right? It's the same person, but it's in higher formation light. It's very confusing. So I'm in a different outfit, different connections, different voice, different grid, different alienation formation line connections, but I'm the same person. This is where it gets confusing. So this is your first command. So teleport division level system to my force team connections. Light interference is coming in. Yep, mothership, here it is. Calculation, synergized connections. You guys are in a center position, right? This is you, it's my team. Anybody that comes in trash locations, center its line connections, put them into the connections of, not into the recruitment center, but put them into the audit circle. Yeah, the observation center. Yep. Okay, so teleport. Team is coming in. There's the mothership. All right. Okay. There we go. It opens up. Okay, you guys are in descendant positions, traveling through the recognition of time position. Mothership takes off the location. Out we go through connections. Travel recognition of time positions. Okay, so basically, my team is in the center positions. They're at the very front connections. Questions or comments can be answered afterwards. So we got them back in positions. All right, here we are. Make sure you get identifications to 369 position, travel locations, 7th division level systems. Body traction locations, 7 atmospheres / 5 positions. 7./5.0 impact connections, okay? 7 lines, 5 within the system, 0 traction locations. Very important that the recruitment center, make sure you use your identifications every time you line stream. So basically what they have through connections is they have their own computers. It's allocated to their mind system. It's an audio signal that's into the position of the perceptions. That's how they recognize everybody through connections. The alignment system at 369 positions, dimensional line connections of 7 rotation centers into 5 positions to circle rotation center connections. And this is understanding how you can use digital frames to position line connections. All right, so fleet commander's coming in. All right, so fleet commander's here, division line system, go back into connections. Let's go into the waving position of time connections, into another rotation center, into the blue structural level connections. Let's circle rotation center in the light surface into realm location. Okay. All right. This is your fleet commander. Circle rotation realm centers, line connections to its optical line connections. Now you got dimensional realms of north, west, south, and east in position. Circle rotations are coming in through line connections. Circle rotations, everything through line systems. Traction to its location centers. Make sure you use the wind spins. You got 5 division level connections, line position line connections. Circle rotation centers are coming in. Traction to its location. Fluctuation center of its connection. Cross-reference its position line connections. Operate everything through dimensional line connections. Open up everything through cross-reference line connections. Open up the diamond core positions. Here we go through traction locations. There we are. Center its position line connections in trapping locations of 5 dimensional rounds. Circle rotation centers into diamond core positions. Cross-reference everything through calculation. Don't forget that. Write that down. Put it in the auto signal. As it's in its audio signal, we'll go back into connection. Okay, this is your first command. Now back in position, we're going to go with the white graph location. Now, basically, I have to go back and forth, right? Because we're in different timeline positions, okay? So my team is teleported, and they know they're being teleported because they're high division of light. The higher you go through light, the more you see through traction to UFO connections. Okay, so basically, with my team, now, because we already had the test review and evaluation of 110, anybody that's lower through that connections has to understand their central line connections. It's extremely powerful when we come into high force positions. So we get XT1000 positions in 1, 2, we got 3, okay, and we got 5 within the system. Allocate its position of time location, synergize its line system. So my team has to come into high level positions of rotation centers into crop circles. So we're going to line stream those connections. Sonar is coming into division line connections, okay? 5 within this system, 5 within the activation, 5 within its circle rotation center connections. All right, so we go into that position line connections. All right, so this is just for my force team in that position. All right, so we got the in-at connections. Now we go back into the connection of the fleet commander. See how I go back and forth, fluctuate patterns. So the central line system, here we go, through diamond core positions, by division level systems, round location center connections. Don't forget to use the sun rotation center connections, officer circles, dimensional line connections, and its position line connections. You got the moon graph locations. Don't forget the line communication. It's in this line communication line system. Here comes Jupiter in the rotation center. There we go through connections, all right? Into position line connections, circle rotation back into connections. Line stream line connections, 5-dimensional line connections. Everything's activated through core center. Don't forget, use your identification code frequencies back into location. All right, so back we go into connections of your first command. Now, as we come back into this connections, we have the center connections to the crop circle. All right, so we open the crop circles to position line connections. My team has to understand the graph formation centers to their position line connections. All right, so you have to understand how to use these things. So they come up back into division location, triangular location, center positions. They always have the line through communication. Center to its location, back in its location. All right. So we're going to change the graph location back into higher positional conditions. So here's the mothership in position. Okay. Now the central line connections goes into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we got the XT1000 positions. It's in line signal. Okay, so here we are in position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So truly understand how everything is created in space anomaly through the connections. All right, it has its solar drives and line connections. All right, line stream, its position line connections. I know it's a complicated stuff, complicated issue, but you have to understand what's going on when it comes into space anomaly through an alliance. It's all in line division location. Now, basically, when you're standing crop circle positions, everything in line streams its position of crop circles. Okay, so these are the alliance of the crop circles that are going to set to the ground formations. My team has to truly understand more of calculation to the mothership connections into that position. All right, so back we go into fleet commander. The commander is coming in, communication signals, rotation center connections. Round locations for waving systems, allocate position of time location, back in division location, go into back location centers. Here we go, and back in location, into your line connection position, line systems. Here we go through division line connections, operate line signals to traction location center connections, open up cycle rotation centers. Here we go through position. Travel recognition of time location, shapes and anomalies. You got square reference line connections, circle rotation centers, triangle location positions, center position line connections, operate everything through connections, open up all cycle rotation center dimensional line connections, circle rotation center to its connection, activate everything through port or open line connections, secure line dependencies coming in through traction locations. Open up all traction locations of all box location line centers. Traction to its location, energize its position line connections. Everything is in line communication signal to its location center of its dimensional round connections. Make sure you get those dimensions into the right system. It's allocated position of time location, box frequency level through connections. All right, everything goes into center position, back in the core system. All right, here we go, back into the connections of your first command. All right, so it's very important to understand these things through modifications. You got 5 central line connections of XT1000 positions. This is the mothership. This is the academy. This is the recruitment center. Right? This is where I started off. So understanding what it is everything through the atmosphere position of time. Humanity and its fluctuation centers is going to change the graphing positions to their mind or the thoughts. The placebos in the cortex is going to change the spine repeaters into connection line system. Allocate position of time location, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the crop circle connections. All right, so pause in that location. Communications are on division level system. Okay, all right, so fleet commander is off cycle right now through position. All right, so it's called a break. They have to go through their communication cycles and systems. So they're allocated through they have their own computer mind system, which is telepathy. So they got their communications already set to go through an alliance. So this is how you communicate in space. It's all position level systems. First commander or anything through fleet commander or anything in that position, right? So you can see the fluctuation change from one person to another person, how we go from first command to fleet commander, right? It's totally different energy, totally different illustration, totally different timeline. And that's what humanity has to come into. And the mothership, okay, it's like a pressure cooker. It fluctuates the atmosphere position. It changes the gravity location centers. Okay, so the mothership is like an island, and it's so big. It's an academy. It's a recruitment center, right? So now we know what it is through calculation. So let's get into your questions. I know you guys are freaking out. So let's see here. Tina, Wyatt, Dina, how's it going? Speech. Questions or comments are good. Yep. Yeah, so your meditations have felt great, because you keep meditating. That's great. Sandra, how's it going? Yes, I got the email from you. It's very important that once you get into my healing is to understand what you're doing with your healing. Okay? Because if people keep asking me, what's going on, right? You have to understand you have to meditate. It's very simple. You have energy that's going into you. It's a very powerful source. It's light. So if you don't understand the fluctuation system, that's fine. But the brain is going to overload the property levels of the time capacitor positions of time. Your dimensional time has to reach the 5 diameter light connections to your positions to its grabbing locations. So you have to understand these things when you go into meditation. You go into breathing. You let it in. You just let it in. Let it go in. It's transmitting and receiving. It's energy that's going into the mind collaboration of the transformation light system, right? If you get confused anything through that connection, the brainwave is not going to understand its connection. It's going to go back to sleep, right? So either way, I wake you up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing at any time or form, but you have to get into your meditations. Okay, that's the most important thing. And then you get into your breathing. I don't know how many times you guys breathe, but it's important to breathe. Okay, because you're breathing in oxygen levels. You're breathing in energy. You're breathing in particles. You're breathing in your cell generators. You're breathing in its wire locations. You're breathing in and then you're breathing out. That's the whole point that we're trying to get across. The toxicity level has to change the fluctuation of humanity. And that's why the mothership is here. Okay? So in that position, you truly have to understand what's going on through calculation. All right? Meditate daily. Yes. 3 times, 4 times a day. Meditation is a way of life. You don't have to stand in a corner and go, padi. No, it doesn't work that way. You can do whatever you want. Just make sure you have open sequence. Okay, don't cross your legs, don't cross your arms. Always have open signal. Okay, that's the most important thing. Okay, that is a program through positions. You can't cross your legs in anything through connections, right? So you can go off to the side, but just don't cross over because you're confusing positions of line connections. Don't do that with meditation. That's not meditation. That's a program. So in position, trying to understand your communications is very important to everything through division of time location. So how's everybody feeling being in the mothership? So I'm curious what everybody's seeing. They're in their speeches right now. Then they're just going over their mind. They're setting in at their flight centers and their aerial divisions. They have to understand how to use their navigations when they're traveling in space anomaly. So even Dina's aware that the mothership is here. So I never told her that. It's being aware, guys, of what's going on. That's the most important thing because it connects to all around positions of time. So anybody have any questions on that or what's going on with your connections to your XT1000s? Because I have to get my team into crop circles. You guys have to learn how to use your own CGI methods. Trying to think of yourself as your computer trying to set up something, right? And it's in space, and then you bring it down to the ground. The XT1000 picks up your program setting, sets it on the ground formation. It's a planet rotation center to calculation. I've done videos on that through position. So this is what it is. This is why you see things right on the grounds. So you got one here and one here. Line signal across. I'm just going to do it extremely fast so you understand position of time. Okay, you have to truly understand everything starts with its connection. What is it that I'm doing? What is it doing through line strings? What is it doing? Everything that I'm doing is already set in space. So we just platitude it down on the ground formation line connections into the physical realm. So it goes into 2,000 feet in the ground formation line connections. Okay, so when it hits that, it hits a connection where you have to understand it comes into a tunnel defense. So it's the energy waves that traverse its position. When it opens up the ground formation line connections, it opens up streams of laser connection like this. It was extremely high rise to the position of time location. All right, so let's recenter its line connections back in location. All right, so it's really fast when we do these things. So it goes in like this. It's a laser that goes up 24/7. It has to go up, right? It's like fluctuating systems. It's allocated positions of time location. All right. So it's understanding this. This is basic. This is not all connected, right? It's only connected until it's line connected. See, line connected. Everything has to be connected. Everything has to be line in division. So if this was off cycle and going this way and not going this way, these would not activate. Understand? So this has to play on recognition of time. See that line string? Then the lasers go up, right? So this is a basic way to set up a crop circle. You learn this in the academy, right? So my team is going to be in the fluctuation system. Okay, they're going to be in their own recruitment centers because you guys have to understand how to do your flight systems and navigation lights. So in position, you come into laser direction locations. So if you understand your connections and your line streams, this is activated, right? It's very basic how you set up a crop circle from the very beginning. Each crop circle is a planet location line system. It's shaped anomaly to its division location to its auction level connections. That connects to laser direction of plans. And your plan is an application to line system. So it's structuring levels and how you interline connections to the ground formation system to the auction levels of laser direction. Okay? Pretty interesting, eh? Okay, let's see here. Yeah, Dina is feeling more clear. That's great. I saw a lot of flashes and closed my meditation yesterday. First time like that. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good. So you're getting flashes of recognition of time. Very good. Believe it. See, you're high rising fast and faster. I definitely could see difference in the meditation after not crossing my legs. There you go. It's got to be open sequence. Perfect example. You have a hose, right? What if you put a knot in the hose? What happens? Right? It doesn't run, right? It's locked in. It's tied in a knot. It's not going to flow. The energy has to flow. Okay, the line streams have to flow. Same thing with crop circles when we set up ground formations to communication signals. Very basic understanding to communication. So look at this. See how this is line channeled? See how that is line channeled? It's in perfect line. It's in alignment. Everything is lined. Okay? So if I did this and I added this, right? If I did this and change that position of time location, right? Into that connection line system. Let's just say we change the coloration light connections, right? We're not sure what we're doing through position of time. So this is off cycle. This will not activate the laser positions. This will change the gravity position of time and its humanity through its connection, right? So you have to make sure you know what you're doing when you're doing crop circles of laser direction. Everything has to be in line sequence, a program setting. So it's very important you understand how to set up crop circles. So that's what my team is in calculation modifications. The signal rotation center has to be in its line signal. The activation core system has to understand its communication when the XT1000s come in. Because what they do is they scan your operation line connections to its crop circle of its positions. So you have to truly understand what you're doing with the modifications of shapes and line system. So you understand how important it is? If this here, it disrupts the signals over here because it's not line communicating, it's off system. So if you do this through calculation, if you decide to do this and change the rotation center, it won't connect. Everything has to be aligned, and that's what it is. It's all about an alignment of shapes. Okay, this won't activate until this is centered through position. So the same shape anomaly has to be in the same line connection to the circle rotation center of its connections. That's how we activate the crop circles through laser, right? So now you know. Now you know. That's how important it is to line signal your channels to shapes in the right location. So, how's everybody doing so far? Jess, how's it going? I'm reading Power of Force, talks about some of the things you've been telling me. Great. Welcome to my channel. Right now, we're connected to the mothership, and I'm in space location right now, setting up all different levels of classes to ratios, proportions, flight suits, flight command, fleeting command, anything through that connection line system, allocated position of time location. So basically, you probably feel the energy. You might see the lights. It's all about what you're doing through calculation, time capacitor, that position of time lines. So basically, you start out with your first commander, and then you connect with your fleet commander. And billions of people are in class proceeding. So I recruited over 100, positions to its benevolent system. It calculates modifications. These are people that are high rise into location. They understand their plasma lights. They understand their light streams. They understand their activation program settings, and their position into navigations. So that's really exciting to see these things. So if you have any questions or comments there, Jess, you can go through my healing. You can set up an email at Connections. My email's down below. Tells you what you need to do, how to wake up your system. It's all about who you are through calculation, right? So basically, in that Connections with my team, it's important how to set up your own crop cycle, crop circle. Everything in its connection of this line stream has to be in position of time location, right? So it's important that you understand your lines. This is not lines. This is confusion. This confuses this one, and this one doesn't know what's going on. So it has to be in position, right? You start off with that. If you add something, you're changing realm, you're changing laser, changing direction, you're changing the grounds. So it's really interesting how it connects, because the XT1000 come in and says this site is not through connections, your laser is off position, go back into location, start over. So you have to start over. You have to line stream, backtrack to your positions, change your lines, change your colors. So if you're changing lines of colors, be cautious on that. Make sure they line channel to each other, okay? Because each laser recognition line connections has to understand its program setting of its position. Okay, I got a lot of interference coming in right now in position line connections. So basically, all right. So now, as we do that through connections, you start off with this through connection, right? We go into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 XT1000s of position line connections. But before that, you have to understand the communications to the mothership. Okay. Once you get into the mothership, then you understand everything calculation, then you go into the crop circle position of time. So you have to understand the calculation modifications when you come into GOD, geometrics, operations of directions. And then you get into divisions. So now we're in directions with the team. My force team through calculations understand geometrics, operations, directions. Okay, that's what we have to understand. So it's time to understand how to set up your own crop circles into all positions. All right. Does anybody have any questions or comment on that? I don't want to get too complicated. I mean, it's already complicated, it is, but in that position. So power recognition timers are off. Backing calculation. Okay. Center positions, communication cycles are coming in. Fleet commander. All right. Now, this fleet commander coming in. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the cycle rotation. Circle rotations are coming in through calculation, modification circles, change the coloration line system, dimensional time position. Make sure you use the dimensional settings after open line location, position of time location. Synergize position line connections, back forcing connections, activating the core system, fleet commander communications coming in through direct location, energy light connections, activation line connections, colorations coming in through division level system. Okay, so identification codes, read the sector level connections, read your manuals, into line position, colorations coming in through rotation, back into division location. All right, so we got 2 realm locations, center line connections. So we got 4 planet locations, activate everything through line signal. Trapped into its position location, activate everything through the core center. Get into your flight commanding navigation signals. Communications coming in. All right, back to your first commander. All right, so we got into this connection, right? Now, this is understanding where you come into the geometric operations of its directions. You got the directions, line signals, shapes, and anomalies, but don't put anything else, okay, until you're asked from the XD1000. So the XD1000 platitudes your divisions and changes your program setting to its graph location. The shapes anomaly is already created in space. So you're going into your CGI of your digital frames, okay? Everybody knows what CGI is. It's a green screen, right? But in space, it's not a green screen. The green screen is you through perception. So line signal is rotation center. Its connection is all about line signaling channel. That's all you do. That's all you start with. So you don't want to do anything complicated and add things, okay? Because this is different from this. How is this going to activate if you don't understand line strings or anything through your directions or your operations or your geometrics, okay? Or your geometry set location. This is where you have to understand the metric levels of line communication, line strings. That's all they understand it through calculation. 1 to here, 1 to here. How long does it take from go to here to here? So in position, this is what it's like. Let's put it in traction location, vortex location, and time position. Now we'll go into that position, 2 platforms. Okay? All right. So we got 1 here and we got 1 here. 1 person here through modification. And you got another person here through modification. Okay, so you got 2 people on line same with the gravity location, center positions. Okay, they scan each other, one to another, line telepathy, right? So they understand their energy lights, one to another. Okay, so they're in communication, right? One is always higher than the other. You're never ever at the same level. It's next to impossible. You know why you're not at the same vibration? Because you have different thoughts of travel of time position, okay? So it's true to understand how to connect with each other, right? Through the ground formation. Okay, the ground formation connects with you. It opens up your connections to your chakra system, okay? So when you're saying setting crop circles up, we're doing this in our own minds during the meditation, or are we drawing them? You're doing everything, but it's not meditation, believe and see. This is actually work. This is actually a mission. You're actually doing this on the physical realm, Kenshin. So this is way, way, way beyond anybody's upgrade system. So allocated position of time is to understand the meditation from one to another. Okay, the shapes and anomalies, everything through crop circle. So you see how everything is line string, everything is in division, okay? If anything's off circle, if it goes to the ground formation and you go into your power centers without communicating, right, with the other person, what's going to happen? It's going to be off cycle, right? So you got to make sure you know what you're doing through your line strings, have your ground formation line connections, because the grounds automatically go into the connections of the interforcing positions of time location. Right? Now it's complicated stuff, but it's important when you get into your geometrics operations of its direction, you have to know what you're doing through line signal, through its activation of its laser direction. Okay? So, and this is just a start. And then we go into electrical fences, then we go into perimeters, and then we set up barriers. Okay? It's like seeing something from the naked eye. And when it's going beyond, way beyond meditation, this is where you come into energy, frequency, and vibration, and how you can create things, not just in the mind, but on the physical realm connections. So it's all about the control of you of the grounds, you controlling your energy, you controlling the form of energy, you controlling the metric calculation of energy, you controlling the coloration, lights, and shapes of energy. It gets very complicated in time dimension. Okay, so it's a lot of work that we have to look at, right? So, okay, so we're going to get off the mothership, time through proceedings. Tomorrow we're going to go through the same practical level connections. Interforcing line connections, teleport, rendezvous connections, vector core, tango, tango. Echo Zulu 1, back into track locations. Take the force team back in position where they are through calculation. There you go. Right here to here. Everybody's back in position. Off the mothership connections. All right. So symmetry, balance between connections. Yep. Yeah, you're definitely connecting, believe it. It's good that you have the power and the will and the connection and the force and the control and the command. You have to have command with your energy. You have to know what to do with the form of energy. You have to know what to do with your activation lights of energy. You have to know how to create everything through vibration of energy. You have to know how to use all calculations when it comes into frequencies and how to use it through communication. That's harmonic resistance. And then you start creating things, not just in the mind, but it's already created. It's already put out there, and it comes extremely real in the physical realm because now you're creating it. I could put energy fields around a car. You can't see it, but it's already done. And it's extremely real. When you're going through perception, you can actually feel the force. It's like feeling your energy fields. Are they here, 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 or here? Where is your energy field? Right? So the more you spread the energy field, the more the concept level of your shape of the pixel and the activation lights will connect high-rise positions to the solar generation of the sun. And everything through the moon program will go into oscillation wind spins to its calculation modification into its new program setting of its connections. Okay? So it's a lot of work. So questions or comments, you can go through my healing. It's really understanding your adaptation cycles, right? But I want to get my team into crop circles. They have to learn how to do these things themselves through laser. It's complicated stuff if you don't understand your light streams. If you don't know your plasma energies and things to do, the first thing you have to learn is how to vortex through time. How do we do that? Well, the first thing you look at is how do I vortex through a shape? How do I activate a shape? How do I go through a shape? How do I skip through a shape? How do I change the shape? How do I change the color of the shape? How do I change the activation color of the vortex of the shape? You know, it's all connected inside you. So it's all about looking inside you and actually doing these things. That's the energy. That's the form. That's the creation. So it's going way, way beyond meditation now because you're creating something that is in its position of time, which is the 5D of its physical realm. Okay. And that's what healing does. It forms and it creates, right? And it fixes anything in time, position, travel. Okay. So it's all connecting to the molecule structure of light. You guys are starting off with your line strings to connections of your computers. Okay. So it's all about understanding, okay, if I understand my program setting, for example, these are my glasses. These are lens. These are reflectors. Now, you have to understand peripheral vision, right? In the back force, right? Everything is green. It's green here. It's reflection to the sun, programs to the moon, but it's numbers that are in digit range. So you got your prime numbers, okay, and you got your negative incidence. So you have to understand the calculation modifications to its structural location because it's going like this, right? It's just numbers, right? Those are numbers. See the computer, how it's changing? If I go like that, it changes the background. See? The background changes, light signals, operation line connections, back into position location. So you have to understand how you use your reflectors and everything that you see in the back. It's green. I'm in the matrix, right? And so over here, right? So different coloration channels. So everything has to be laser directed. This is made at a certain point, but everything starts in the center, right? Everything starts in the center. This is a shape. And this is how you create it, right? So as soon as I put it on, my structure, my face, it's connected to me through observation, through audio signals and voicing group patterns. So it's really powerful when we come into these times. So you guys have to get into your matrix. And that's why it's talking about the symmetry and balance between the connections. That's what you need through line signals into the matrix position. Okay? So you can't ignore these things, especially with your intelligence. right? That's the importance, that your eyes are everywhere, north, west, south, and east. You're traveling instantly, simultaneously. Your soul has to identify your shapes, letters, and numbers, especially when you come into geometrics operations of its direction. Okay, because now you're coming into the laser pyramid activation system. If you synergize your position line connections and you put laser directions in the wrong locations, or you bound off to a pyramid system that doesn't have any relation to a shape, there's a problem. You're going to set your positions to your coordinates. XT1000 will help you through the program setting. They'll scan you and tell you exactly what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong, because they're always traveling. They never hit the ground formation system. They never go below the atomic level connection of its position that you're on, because that will change the vibrational lines. Do you understand how powerful an XT1000 is, the position? It just sits there. Right? So imagine it hitting the ground. It would just big, humongous solar flare. And it would do and it would just right? So that's why you'll never see an XT1000 land on the grounds, right on the positions of where we are right now. It's the calculation. So it's pretty amazing when you see these things through perception. But yeah, that's it. You know, class is over. They've got their information. They're in their recruitment centers, and they're back into their connections, going into their planet locations to its civilization. So Fleet Commander is gone. He's done what he's done. I'm your first commander in position. But it's amazing how you change energy, and that's what my team has to get into. You guys have to get into different energy form, right? Once you get into different energy form, it takes over your whole body, and you're somebody else. And when somebody else comes on, right, one of my team members in the Rebellion Alliance say, it's not the first commander, different energy. You're aware that this is not your first commander. Different energy, different perception, different time, different location, different activation, different color, different light. Okay, that's how powerful energy divorce system is. So you should be able to go into any form of any intelligence to any position of time through the dimensions of portals, through their connections. So it's really interesting to come into these times, guys. All right, so you have any questions or anything that has to do with what's going on with your body traction, your body positions of anything through time position, let me know. Okay, if you want to get into my healing. So that's the important thing. Keep asking questions and you get your answers. So I'm just line signaling right now, channel difference. So basically, because mothership is back in form, she's still in the atmosphere position, but she's got to go back into the sun, back in rotation over around the moon, and she just sits there, right? So, but she's here for 3 days. So class proceeds for 3 days. That's the recruitment center. So it's understanding that, you know, if it's like, let's say it's 3 hours, okay? 3 hours here in a human vessel of its connection to its class and its proceeding, okay, is 3,000 years prevalent to that connection in space. Because it's always time capacitor. That's what time capacitor is. So you're always force reckoning yourself, higher force connections, right? So basically, if you're in space and you're near your physical system, okay, and you travel, okay, hour per hour, that's 7 years each time. Okay, so they're aging on the positions of the grounds that you were on, but you in space, you still stay the same age. That means it's complicated stuff, but it's clock and proceeding through time capacitor, speed through acceleration. It's amazing how you go through fluctuations, and that's what humanity is. Humanity fluctuation is in time capacitor now. Okay, so what that means, everything on the dimensional of the Earth, the UFO connection, is going to change frame of time. So everybody's going to go faster in time through their thoughts. Powerful stuff. So Just going to back phrase here, see if I missed any questions. Speech, how's it going? I just want you guys to be aware of what's going on. You know, that's the most important thing. You don't have to understand me, you have to understand yourself. It always informs when it comes into your calculation, modification, integration. You have to understand your formulas on how to understand your perceptions of time, ideals of time, and everything to your voicing grades of time. Okay? XT1000 and arc room. No, it's a computer generation acceleration line stream. Yeah, it's a program, but it's an algorithm. No. Well, you're catching on though. You're catching on. Your light streams are connecting to your vibrational panels, which is great. No, it's just a computer operation line connections to your brainwave and your mind system. Right? They're there to help you. They're always traveling into connections of cloak and dagger of the clouds. Right? So once you stand, use your hand interference, and if the center position is the activation, this is the moon, this is the sun, and these are the weathers, then you stand your connections of time through XT1000. So when I do this, I'm sending out signals, not to you, to them, because the line connects. Everything line connects, guys. So think of yourself in a game. You're all in line. You're all connected through the line. It's digital. So imagine me going in a CGI of digital. My whole structure is digital. It's all pixel. It's all activated. It's a TV reception, coloration. It's hologram. That's all it is. So you have to learn how to line stream from my nose, tip of my nose, to the corner of my computer. Okay, this corner here to down here. Everything has the line signal. So the XT1000s travel on your lines. That's why they zigzag, because they're in line sequence of coordinates. Right? Some go depending on what you're doing with your thought patterns and your recognition time speeders. Right? So you have low gravity UFOs, you got medium, and you got high, and you got higher, and you got highest, and you got way above. It's upgrade systems. When you come into the brain atmosphere, these are higher force of lights that are in vibration. Okay. So when you reach that vibration, you understand more of your line signals of direction through its connection. Everything has to be line signal through you. So it's understanding my phone is its connection, right? Line stream. Okay. My water is in line stream. Okay, this computer is in line stream. I'm communicating with you. That's a line stream to the digital pad, to the corner of the wall, to the center position, to the knob, the door, light switch, circuitry lights of the ceiling, window graph systems, communication tree, everything inside, not only everything outside. So it's everything that your lines that you're connected to. So you understand the lines. Each one is a different line of a timeline. It's extremely complicated. Dolores Cannon talked about this a lot in her books when she having interdimensional beings channeled through her clients. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Dolores Cannon does that. She knows exactly. She can open up your center positions and put you into her quadrant levels, her telepathy mind system. So interdimensional beings, yeah. That's channeling inside, right? And that just opens up everything of your alignment. So, but that's how she gets to her clients, right? It's kind of like you're in sleep mode. You're in hypothesis of high surface. You're into connections of sleep deprivation. You're in connections of all levels of high interference. So what happens is when you go under the connections, you understand, right? It's the commanding force of the voice. So that controls your line, right? You don't have any control. They're controlling you. So be cautious on that. Hypnotherapy, it's very powerful stuff. If you know what you're doing, that's fine, but you got to bring the person back. So there's a lot of things you have to understand through the quantum levels. It's powerful stuff, though. Dolores Cannon is true to one nature. Yeah. So. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. It's a powerful class today. Very confusing for a lot of people. But in provisions of time, you'll truly understand more of yourself. That's where you have to get into. You have to get into the activation lights, your plasma lights. You have to know how to vortex, right? Per second. And that goes all your connections to your watch. We'll get into that, how we vortex through shapes. Especially for the new viewers, they actually have to see them traveling through a connections of what anything through a shape. You have to line string, you have to go into security line defense, you have to set up a dimensional realm to its shapes and anomalies so you can travel through that shape. Okay, because everything is not what it seems to be. Space is all geometrics of digital frame. It's all about understanding how to travel through laser directions, laser connections, laser activation, laser colors, laser lights of plasma, lights, energy, light connections. It's all activated inside you, but you have to, and you're all connected to everything, right? So if I'm connected to the water, I'm also connected to the tree's connected to the car is connected to the pole is connected to the atmosphere is connected to the satellite's connected to the lights of that car over there. Everything's connected. And that's why it's confusing, because you don't know what dimensional time it is in through lines, because everything is in the simulation, but it's a different dimensional time position. Okay, so, oh, you're extremely welcome. Yeah, I'm going to go live now on TikTok, get everybody up to speed on what's going on, right? So you guys have a fantastic day. Adios.